And we are back on the Zero Hour. In this segment, we're going to be talking. Well, let me just read to you a couple things I wanted to read to you. First of all, from a website for the movie Citizen Koch, which is spelled Koch, so we know who it's about, the Koch brothers. Citizen Koch tells the story of the changing American political landscape through the eyes of three Wisconsin state employees, all lifelong Republicans, who suddenly find their party taking direct aim at them, stripping away the economic ground their families have built and depended on for generations. That is from the Citizen Koch website. Now from Policy Mike, the website, independent news website, this paragraph. The Public Broadcasting Service, PBS, has bowed to pressure from the powerful Koch brothers and declined to show a documentary critical of the Kochs and the role of money in American politics. The documentary, titled Citizen Koch and directed by Academy Award-nominated filmmakers Carl Deal and Tia Lessin, focuses on the Wisconsin uprising and the role played by big money interests such as the Koch brothers. As Jane Mayer of The New Yorker writes, the film was pulled by PBS for fear of offending the billionaire Koch brothers, who have given $23 million to public broadcasting. And doesn't that say a lot about the fate of a supposedly public institution in the country today? Do we have Tia yet? I guess we don't have Tia Lessin with us yet, but so let's talk a little bit about public broadcasting. You know, one of the things that surprises people when I talk about media bias in reporting, for example, of Social Security, is the fact that one of the worst offenders in misleading people on Social Security's role in the deficits, which was the source of my last the subject of my last monologue, and so on. People are always very surprised to hear that NPR misleads people on Social Security or government spending or the deficit or other issues. But what they don't realize is that as funding has been progressively cut, and NPR is, of course, National Public Radio, for public radio and public television, producers and executives for these broadcast networks have increasingly looked to private donors to make up the difference. Those private donors are overwhelmingly, naturally, billionaires, highly wealthy, and so on. So what you have is this increasing influence of big money on national public broadcasting, and I think we have Tia now. Are you with us?
I am. Hi there, Tia here.
Oh, so good to have you, and thanks for coming on the show. And I've just been given a little background on the situation. So basically, you put together this, it's a great idea for a movie, how three lifelong Republicans were affected by the Koch brothers and their agenda being imposed in Wisconsin. But you had a little wrinkle, a funny thing happened to you on the way to the theater, as they say, which is that. So what did you do when PBS pulled the funding?
Boy, well, first of all, we were gobsmacked. I mean, we had no idea that David Koch, one of the subjects of our film, was actually a funder of public television and also served on the board of two of the biggest public television affiliates in Boston and in New York. And I guess we were more surprised when that, in effect led to public television killing our funding commission, killing our broadcast partnership. I mean, it was sort of stunning, and as a loyal public television fan, I felt very betrayed.
And I just wanted to emphasize to you that there's two parts to that shot. One is that our so-called public television or public broadcasting resources are so dependent on private money, and two is that they allow private money to censor and kill projects. How did they tell you about that?
Well, they're not supposed to. I mean, they have very strict guidelines of all that because they want to be in integrity with their listeners. And so, for example, when I bring a program to public television, they really scrutinize my funders to make sure that they have no impact on what it is I'm saying and who is being featured in the film. But oddly, because David Koch played such a big role in these two stations and gave something like $23 million to public television, they were concerned, or there were some people over at public television that were concerned about the reaction he might have to our film, and that resulted in. Well, first of all, they called us and they said, "You got to change the title." I mean, we'd been in partnership with them for 6 or 8 months. We'd shown them our rough cut. They'd been watching those samples along the way. We were actually on our way to Sundance. We were very nearly done with our film, and we kind of were. We came up with this cheeky title we thought was clever, to call the film Citizen Koch. It's not a takedown of the Kochs. It's a look at exactly what you said. It's a look at the lifelong Republicans in the heartland who are trying to choose sides between, the party that they were proud to belong to and the party that it has become, in this age of the Tea Party. So the public television folks love the film. They were really excited about the film. They even were fine with the title. And then we got the demand to change the title. Not change it, take the word Koch out of the title, because we named it Citizen Koch. And they also wanted us to take the Kochs out of the film. I mean, there wasn't that much of them, but even that was a problem. So we thought that was pretty suspicious, and then we did a little digging, and we understood what was behind their demands. And we said, no way. We might come up with a better title of the film, but we're not going to do it because you have a funder that you want to, appease. And apparently at the time, and we found out this later because a great investigative reporter named Jane Mayer, who works at the New Yorker, wrote a piece about this and did some digging, and she found out that David Koch had a 7-figure donation on the line. He was about to make this donation to our local public television affiliate in New York when our film was on its way to Sundance, and that's what triggered all this. So in the end, they didn't get their donation anyway, and in fact, he resigned from the board. I guess he wasn't getting much of what he wanted, but they killed our film anyway. But they killed the TV broadcast of the film, which is a shame. But I guess, were more determined than ever just to make sure that folks, would see the film. And
so you went to Kickstarter and you raised money there. And the film is out. And I want to ask you about the film, but before we leave the last subject, I just want to say I wonder how many times this happens and people never hear about it. And that's something that I think people should think about, this form of censorship of public broadcasting. But moving on, because we have.
Well, and let me just say that I'm still in favor of public television. It's exactly why the public needs to, support public television. Because if we don't spend our $10, $15, $20 during the pledge drive, then public television has no choice but to be in the thralls of corporate donors. So I really think that it's a mandate for us to step up, not only with our own checkbooks, but make demands that Congress continue to fund and up their funding of public broadcasts.
Good. I'm glad you added that second part because I agree with both of them. I do think it's two-part as well. Make your contributions, demand that Congress contribute. And in the minute and a half we have left, I'm sorry we ran short on time, but just tell folks where they can see your film and learn more about it.
That's right. Our film is called Citizen Koch. You can check our website, citizenkoch.com. That's Koch, rhymes with joke, but it's spelled Koch. And we have the latest schedule. If the film is playing in your town, please make the point to go see it opening weekend. It means so much to us, and it will mean the film will have a life beyond the theater. If it's not playing in your town, there's an easy way you can get it to your town for a one-night screening at your local theater, and we also have that information on our website. Play the trailer. You can, don't let me, tell you why it's important to see this film and why this is, I think, a great film. Check out the trailer at citizenkoch.com, and you'll see it for yourself.
Great. Well, I think that's a great recommendation. Citizen Koch, co-director Tia Lessin, thanks so much for joining us and telling us about your experience and your film.
That's right. The film that the Koch money wouldn't let you see is coming to theaters near you. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
You bet. You bet. Bye-bye. All right, so there you have it. The story the Koch brothers didn't want you to hear is coming to a theater near you. No one will be admitted after the first 30 minutes. No, I just made that up because I used to say that about horror movies when I was a kid. No, in a way, it certainly is a horror movie. So I encourage you to see it. I look forward to seeing it myself. We will be right back after this with the Future Music Coalition talking about net neutrality and the FCC. I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and this is